Adventists to conservative are going to be vegetarian, and your like far right conservative Adventists are vegan, which has definitely predisposed me to assuming vegans are all insane.
I already thought that, so.
But to make this easier, the Adventist Church has its own food. And this was actually made by church-owned companies. They are now all owned by Kellogg. And so there's hot dog substitutes, linkettes, and Big Franks.
We didn't go over the Kellogg story. We'll get to that. Go ahead.
Yeah, we'll get back to Kellogg because that goes back to Battle Creek. So we will get there. So you have fake hot dogs, Big Franks and linkettes, and there is a debate amongst Adventists, and it can continue on with ex-Adventists about whether linkettes or Big Franks are better. Linkettes are more bland. Big Franks are a little bit tangier, and they're physically larger.
What's the story behind maybe why they're so tangy?
Oh, that was just giving her some shit for preferring Big Franks. My uncle had delivered some produce to Loma Linda Foods, and a lot of it was rotten, and they didn't care.
Carry on. I'm sorry. You got to go listen to the last episode of Atheist Nomads if you want a little bit more background on that. So
they've got fake scallops that are basically just breaded gluten. There's fry chick, which is some kind of gluten vegetable protein hybrid with a very salty, slightly tangy attempt at making chicken broth without any chicken. There's Shamburger, which is granular burger that's dry, and you mix it up. It's actually not too bad if you get it wet and then mix in an egg, so it'll actually hold together.
Shamburger?
Shamburger. Yeah.
Okay. Well, at least they're not trying to hide anything.
Yeah. There's fake ham. They call it wham. There's stripples, which is fake bacon.
Fake bacon.
It tastes more like they're faking turkey bacon, but it's...
Oh.
And it's even dyed to kind of look like bacon.
That's horrifying.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's... Oh.
And then,
I can almost deal with turkey bacon. Almost. You know, I won't not eat it, but fake bacon. Shudders.
And so when you're eating food with the substitutes, it's not terrible. It's not great by any means, but you can get by. What was interesting when I was going around preaching in Eastern Washington was I was getting to see a wide variety of potlucks, because typically with an Adventist potluck, it's seeing who can be the best vegetarian cook. If it's a really conservative church, it's who's the best vegan cook. And so your vegetarian potlucks have a tendency to have lots of cheese, lots of gluten and lots of cheese. And it's all casseroles, almost. Your vegan potlucks, there's no cheese, so it's a lot of gluten and a lot of nuts processed to kind of resemble butter.
I really see a problem with this. People with a dairy intolerance or a gluten intolerance, they're really not going to fit into the society that well.
Yeah, and if you've got nut allergies,
you're die.
Fucked. Yeah. Fortunately, my nut allergies didn't start to get bad until after I had left.
Good for you. All right. Well, before we do the closing, we got to when we go on to the one step further into the dietary restrictions. Everyone loves Kellogg's Frosted Flakes.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know one person I've never seen somebody that does not like them. Enlighten us on how Kellogg's Frosted Flakes came into, well, not even Frosted Flakes, just Kellogg's cereal.
Okay, so
cornflakes came into being.
There was the Kellogg brothers, John Harvey, and let me look up his brother's name.
Guys, you're going to love this. Your childhood it's going to ruin your childhood. I promise you, because the things that the Kellogg's brothers espoused. I'll put it this way. If you've ever been circumcised, as a child, you blame these two dudes.
Yeah. So John Harvey, he was a medical doctor, and was obsessed with nutrition, enemas, and exercise. He was very much a advocate of vegetarianism. The main reason was to discourage people from masturbation. He thought that was the big problem. It is alleged that he and his wife never had sex. They claimed that they never had sex.
Great marriage. Completely healthy.
And so everything they were doing, trying to make food more and more bland, because spices, Adventists, the more conservative ones, are also anti-spice, because spices might excite the senses and make you horny.
So not only are they eating vegan food, the extreme conservatives, not only are they eating vegan, they're eating bland.
Yes. Not a single spice to be found.
I would rather die.
Yeah. And so Kellogg, he started Battle Creek Sanitarium. It was a hospital for, using more modern terminology. And he started making foods. A lot of it was just trying to find ways to have bland food that would be more nutritious for people, make it easier for people to be vegetarian. He did a lot of work with peanut butter, and was one of the big people to help promote its use and advance the development of peanut butter production.
I can actually get behind that.
And he also was working on breakfast cereals to try to find ways for people to eat breakfast without having to eat meat. And he created cornflakes, ground up corn, pressed into flakes, baked, and then broken up. And his brother, Will Kellogg, was the marketing guy that was assisting him. And Will took the cornflakes. It's like, these are unpalatable. You can't eat this. So he added a little bit of sugar. And his brother was pissed. So pissed. John did not want any sugar in that, which this actually caused.
And if the listeners want to try, I know most of you probably have some cornflakes inside of your cupboards. Go try to take just a little bit of cornflakes. Don't waste your whole bowl. Just put some milk on it and try to eat it. You'll be gagging before you're done.
And then imagine it without sugar.
Yeah, without sugar. Just milk and just cornflakes.
Yeah. And so this actually caused a split between the two. Will Kellogg started the Kellogg Cereal Company and made cereals that had sugar that people could eat. He became a millionaire very quickly. That's Kellogg's Foods of today.
Rightly so. He was a genius.
And their headquarters is still in Battle Creek, Michigan. They were also friends with the guy who started Post Cereal. And I've actually been to the Battle Creek Cemetery, and Will Kellogg and Mr. Post have their tombs right across from each other, right at the entrance. Giant mausoleums. Post, in particular, he was never an Adventist, and he didn't like the Adventists, to the point where, just in case they were right and Christ might come back, he dictated that he must be buried under 8 feet of concrete.
Okay, well, okay,
yeah,
just in case. I'd say I'd rather. That's freaking hilarious. I didn't know that.
Yeah, John Harvey has his tomb is over on the other side with all the poor people, and it's just a standard little grave. But anyway, so John Harvey, he was the sanitarium. He would counsel people on living a holistic, clean life, how to counsel them on how to fight their sexual urges and how to just try to help them be healthier. Granted, a lot of it was all bullshit. And one idea he had was to discourage masturbation, start doing circumcisions.
So again, Dustin, he already knows this. This literally is the beginning of why circumcision has become a norm in America. That's the reason. If you've ever been I can't say if you've ever been circumcised. If you are circumcised, that's really weird to say. If you're circumcised, 99.9% of the time, if you're not a Hasidic Jew, you got circumcised because of
Kellogg,
the dude that made your cornflakes that you eat in the morning.
Yeah. He did not want people to masturbate and was convinced that circumcision would decrease the likelihood of that.
Now, how many of you that are circumcised, do you not touch yourselves?
I'm circumcised. I masturbated this morning.
I actually personally had to get circumcised as an adult. Not fun.
Now, so Kellogg was promoting this early on. It was solely the reason he was giving was to discourage masturbation. That was the only reason he could come up with until germ theory. As soon as the idea of germ theory was going around, he changed the story to it's cleaner. You'll have lower chances of infection. And that part is actually accurate. You're less likely to have infections if you've been circumcised. HIV transmission rate is slightly lower if you've been circumcised. However, modern hygiene and sanitation completely negates that. If you retract your foreskin in the shower, you'll be fine.
Well, the one thing that he didn't count on was that if you just masturbate, that's all you do. You can't catch an STD if you just masturbate. Hole shot right through it.
Yeah. And so, it caught on pretty quickly. And so by the last part of the 20th century, it was no longer even being touted as being more hygienic. It's just what people did. And interestingly, this really only spread throughout the English-speaking world.
It's really weird to think about things whenever you put them in context.
Mm-hmm.
How something it really was benign, but it has affected millions, but billions of people, literally billions of people. Just so weird whenever you think about it in that manner.
Mm-hmm. John Kellogg is still making it harder for millions of men to have orgasm.
True enough.
Yeah. Now,
all right.
A little bit more on Kellogg. He eventually did get kicked out of the Adventist Church. 1907. The Adventist Church had a big problem with the Trinity concept until about the 1890s. That was when they were pretty much fully Trinitarian. Well, Kellogg took it a step further. He became a pantheist and started to really promote pantheism. And the Adventists would not have that. And so in 1907, they disfellowshipped him, kicked him out.
Now, you say pantheism. I'm assuming that's being able to worship each individual god head.
No, that's polytheism. Pantheism is the belief that God is everything or in everything.
Wouldn't that be like Shintoism?
Shintoism is pantheistic. Buddhism is also pantheistic.
I'm just throwing that out there. I had no clue.
For a lot of scientists that aren't Christian and aren't atheists, a lot of them are pantheists. It's basically one step away from atheists.
Might as well be, in my opinion.
Do you know where Saskatchewan is? Probably not. It's in Canada. If you do, you might know a city named Regina. In Regina, there's a studio. And in that studio, there are, at least once a month, a bunch of skeptical atheist geeks and goofballs who get together to do a podcast. We are the Brainstorm crew, and we're trying to help spread a bit of reason and critical thinking while still having fun. Never taking things too seriously, but still not accepting everything we're told. We go through different topics, exploring them in depth, and often disagreeing. We try to stick to provable facts, and we never trust in myth. That's why we say we're woo-free since 2013. You can find us on iTunes, Stitcher, or Spreaker under Brainstorm, or check out our website, brainstormblog.net. I can't promise you'll always agree with us, but I can promise you'll have fun listening to us.
All right, well, Dustin, we're coming up on just about an hour and a half, even though I'm sure Robert's going to cut it down a little bit. So let's start wrapping it up a little bit. Tell us some of the stuff that you want to promote, some of the things that you are doing that you would like our listeners to hear.
All right. I'm going to start off with just atheist communities. If you are not active with an atheist community, get out and find what's in your area and join an organization. If there aren't any, start one. Meetup.com is great for that. And if you are in the Treasure Valley, check out tvcore.com. That's tvcor.com, and find the Treasure Valley Coalition of Reason and our member organizations.
I would like to point out that Dustin lives in Boise, or how do you say it? It's not Boise. How do you say it?
Boise.
Boise. Anyways, keep on.
And also want to promote my podcast, The Atheist Nomads. We've been going for about 3.5 years. We just released episode 113. We alternate between news and interviews. And my co-host is Wesley Benetti, and my wife, Lauren Studley, joins us sometimes. So you can check us out at atheistnomads.com or in iTunes, Stitcher, or wherever else you find podcasts.
And I fully encourage anyone that's wanting to listen to some hilarious stuff. They're a little bit more explicit than we are